Well, Stephen, it's been a while, obviously, since we saw you. The last time you were here for me today, you didn't end up fighting on Saturday. So, so I guess what are the emotions now going through this again? Like, assuming that Shavkat makes weight and you get to fight on Saturday.
Well, the good thing is that I don't think he's ever missed weight. So I know he's a professional. He's going to come in on point. So it's great, man. It's great to knowing that my opponent is a professional. He's going to come out here. He's going to make weight. We're going to put on a show come Saturday. So I'm just glad to be able to. It stinks that it's taken so long. I was looking forward to the fight in July, and really prepared myself for it. I wanted to get something in a little sooner, but I have been training since April because I was going to fight, I think in Vancouver, but then they postponed it to July. So I've been in training camp since April. So I had to give my body time to heal up, but I feel great and ready to rock and roll this Saturday.
So when we talk to fighters, when they have to do a lot of, they stop their camp and then restart their camp, it can kind of feel like just one long fight camp, and sometimes their body is, by the time Saturday rolls around, is a little burnt out. So I guess physically, how are you feeling after what essentially is a massive fight camp?
Yeah, I feel great, man. I took ample time off, man, and I spent a lot of time on my recovery and my body for this camp, and actually the past few camps I've been doing that. But yeah, it did seem like a really long fight camp. I took a few weeks off and right back into it, but my body felt great, and it was healed up from the last camp and right into the next. So no problems for this one. No problems at all. No injuries. No aches and pains. I'm just ready to rock, man. Let's do it. I wish we could just teleport and just say go. You know what I mean? Just teleport into the cage and fight. This part is fun, but at the same time, it's the nerves and everything are going on. So, but it's I feel like it's my very first fight.
And when they presented you with Shavkat, when the name came across your desk, what went through your mind? Because obviously you were supposed to fight Michel Pereira, and everyone was excited for stylistically that fight. And then there were rumors that maybe you'd fight Kamaru Usman maybe later on this year, and now you ended up fighting Shavkat, who's an incredibly high-level prospect. So when they approached you with his name, what went through your mind?
Well, when I first heard of Shavkat, it was a few years ago. They wanted me to fight him, and I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't know who he was. He was kind of new on the scene at the time. I know he was wrecking people, but I said no. I felt there was more guys that were deserving of where I was to fight. But I definitely kept my eye on him, and he's been doing work. He's ranked number 5, and they're saying that he's the future champ. So when I got the call to fight somebody who's in the top 5, I thought it was great. And who better to prove myself and show the UFC and the world that I'm ready for a title shot, another title run, than against Shavkat Rakhmonov. So now's the time to do it against a heavy hitter. I think the guy's like a 100% finish rate or something like that. So I know he's going to come out there and do work. He's not going to go out there and just try to hold me down. So he's going to try to finish you. And those are the kind of fights that I want to test myself against.
And you're in a unique position where you made your UFC debut even before the Reebok era and everything. So you've seen the prospects come and go, and at one point you were the top prospect. So I guess where does Shavkat rank compared to all these top welterweight future champions that we've seen?
Dude, I mean, I think his record says it alone. I mean, he's undefeated. He's finished everybody that he's fought. I think he's only had 5 fights in the UFC, but he's beat everybody. I feel like his toughest opponent was Jeff Neal, which was, we both fought against him. He ended up finishing him, I didn't. So that's obviously something to look at, but I think he's definitely one of the top, probably one of the toughest guys in the division right now.
And last one for me, obviously, Bilal Muhammad is weighing in as the backup for the main event, and he seems pretty confident that he's, next in line for the title shot. Do you think an impressive win over Shavkat, could get you to leapfrog Bilal in this welterweight pecking order? Possibly,
for sure, or at least a number 1 contender, maybe the loser of the main event. But finally, man, for Bilal, it's a long time coming, man. He needs to be fighting for that title, but yeah, if not the title shot, the number 1 contender shit. So whoever loses that fight, it would be great. I mean, there's one guy that I've been wanting to fight for the longest, and that's Leon. I've been trying to get that fight for a while now, and it hasn't worked. This was before he was champ, and it would be great. No matter what happens Saturday, I fight him next.
Stephen, there's people talk about Shavkat smashing people when he's going through people, but he's never fought a guy like you. So is there part of you that feels excited about being like, well, I can be the tricky puzzle for this guy. It's not the other way around. Just because he's rising the rankings doesn't mean he's this crazy new puzzle for people to solve. I'm actually the puzzle that needs to be solved here.
100%, and that's how everybody feels when they face me. After everybody that I've talked to, it's even Bilal and Gilbert, all these guys. It was like, man, I didn't want to take this fight, but I had to. It was kind of one of those things. I feel like I'm the puzzle still in the division that everybody still has to try to figure out. And I'm getting better every day. That's the thing. Every time I step back out there, I'm improving in something. I've seen him fight. I've watched him closely over the years, especially when I first heard his name, and kept my eye on him. He's good everywhere. It's kind of like facing a Rory McDonald. When I first fought him, he was great everywhere. So it's another one of those. There's going to be a lot of adapting out there, I feel, because I feel like he's one of those type of fighters that he evolves when he fights. He gets better. There's a lot of guys at the top of the game right now. You've seen him fight once. You've seen him fight 100 times. And this is another guy, another Rory that I got to prepare for. So whatever happens, man, I'm ready to adapt. I've trained with some really good guys for this camp and over the years, and I've definitely prepared myself for this one.
You are the underdog, but like quite a heavy underdog according to the bookies. But because of that, should you win, does that not suggest that this win meant a lot and it should give you that status to fight for that title?
I think so. I really do. I mean, everybody's looking at my age right now. I think that's why I'm such an underdog, or the fact that he's got some grappling skills, which I've seen him fight, and the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu is something that I'm getting better at too. So, and like I said, what better guy to prove that to than Shavkat, right? So I feel like if I go out there and win this, man, I'm either getting the number one or the next title shot.
I saw you on Embedded talking about the older guys who've won the world titles, the Glovers and the Yans, and you said, I'm 40 and I could be one of those. You're looking very good for 40.
Thank you.
But still, the fact that you are that age, would it be kind of an extra special thing to win the title at this age, right? You were so close before, but to be able to get there, lose, come back, go there and go back and forth, and to get it at this age, would that mean something extra to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it goes to show and let everybody out there that age is just a number. I mean, Glover Teixeira is kind of like my inspiration. To watch him win it at, 41 or 42 is crazy, man. So I feel the thing is, I'm 40, but I don't feel 40, man. I haven't taken a lot of punishment over the years in the fight game, and I hope to continue that. But I feel fine. I understand. It's funny when people say, man, this is your 20th fight, or you're a veteran. When people say that, it makes me feel like they're calling me old. I'm like, man, am I really? I mean, yeah, I'm 40, but come on, man. I'm not old. I can still go out there and bang it out with the best. And now's the time to prove it. But it would definitely mean a lot more at this age winning the title.
Hi, Steven. Just one for me. I'm just curious if after when you decided not to take that fight, what you felt like when you saw how many people were defending your decision.
I thought it was awesome. I mean, there was a lot of that going on with people not making weight, and I felt like it was becoming a thing. Like people were doing it on purpose to get an advantage over their opponent. And unless you've cut the weight, you won't know what it actually feels like to really suffer through that. And if your opponent doesn't do it with you, there's a difference. There's a big difference. So it was cool to have the fans and everybody behind me with that, because that was going on, I feel like, a little too much. And hopefully it would have stopped. Recently there was a fighter that the same thing happened to him, and I don't think he took the fight, which was cool. I think more guys should do that. If you say you're going to be this weight, you better show up being that weight. Got to show honor and integrity and do it.
Steven over here.
Yes, sir.
Steven, curious.
Hey, Steven. Just curious about the main event. Do you have a prediction, kind of a pick, and who you think's going to win that?
Man, people are going to say it's wrong, but I feel like, from looking at the Usman and Colby fight, we saw what happened there. And then we saw what happened with Leon and Usman. Obviously, Usman was winning the first until he wasn't. But that goes to show that Leon is just as good in the fifth round as he is in the first. He's got great takedown defense. He's also got a gas tank. I know Colby Covington is notorious for that. but I feel like Colby and Usman are very similar fighters, and I think Usman is the better of that, and Leon defeated him. Now, going into the second fight, I feel that Usman wasn't mentally there. I think that last knockout, scared him, and I think he was a little too hesitant in that fight. He didn't look the same. So that Colby Covington doesn't have that, you know. So I think he's going to be on Leon's face the entire time. I think he's going to try to tire him out, but I do believe that Leon's striking. He's the bigger opponent as well, so I think he's going to be able to defend the takedown a little bit easier. Not saying he's not going to get taken down, but I do believe he'll get back up to his feet and keep the fight standing, and I think Leon will pick him apart.
Kind of tying into that, I know Bilal's kind of in the mix as well, and there's a lot of big stakes in your fight. But when you envision yourself going for that title, is there somebody that you want to have on that poster with you and sitting up at press conferences and somebody you think would get the fans excited? Is there one of those three guys?
Man, it's definitely Leon. I mean, everybody, Leon's faced a ton of grapplers, so have I, but people want to see people get punched and kicked in the face, and I feel like that would be a great title fight. Me and Leon, if he wins it, of course. If not, then I still would like to face him, even if he's ranked number one. I would love to fight him. I think that would put on a good show. Not saying that he wouldn't eventually try to take me down. I think he will definitely do that. That's an option for everybody that faces me. But I feel like I got him. I feel like I can take him out, man.
Stephen over here. Just to follow up on Amy's question about what happened in your last fight, did that kind of affect your thought process and what opponent you're going to be facing for the rest of your career?
No, not really. Not really. This was something that happened to me prior in Liverpool, and I told myself then I would never let this happen again. So when it did, I stuck to my guns, and I was like, I'm not going to fight this guy. And it didn't really affect me mentally, to be honest with you. It was very disappointing that I wasn't able to fight in front of the fans. Everybody was looking forward. Stylistically, everybody wanted to see this fight. And I had a lot of people from South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, coming to that fight, and they weren't able to see me fight. So it was very disappointing. And to be able to go through a full training camp and nothing to show for it, really, but improvement, obviously. So I was more disappointed in that than anything else.
Ian Gary is a guy who called you out after his last fight. He's on this card fighting Vicente Luque. What do you think of his situation and his chances against Vicente Luque?
Man, I would love to see, I think this is going to be a great fight for sure. And I've already faced against Vicente Luque. I think Vicente has the skills to be able to win. But I feel that Ian Gary is a very intelligent fighter. I think he's going to go my route and try to pick him apart, use his range, use his reach. His distance management is really, really high level. So I think he can come out with the W for sure.
Thank you.
Stephen?
Yes, sir.
Wondering, final season of Cobra Kai coming up. Can we expect another cameo from you in the final season?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting on the phone call. So the last time I was in Cobra Kai, obviously they decided to do, I was supposed to have a big fight scene, right? But they ended up doing it the week I was in Vegas for fighting Bilal, so I wasn't able to do it. So they kept me in there as a little cameo. So they told me they were going to bring me back for like a big fight scene at the last season. So we'll see. I hope so. I mean, I'm known as the karate guy in the UFC, so what better guy to have in Cobra Kai than me, So I'm still waiting on that phone call, but I hope it happens.
There's a lot more talk about Michael Venom Page coming to the UFC. I know you've got your own goals, but is that one of those fights that, under the UFC spotlight, the two masters are controlling the distance? Is that one that kind of needs to happen at some point?
I think that the fans would love to see that fight, but, coming from a karate background and me and him have hung out with each other a few times. That's not a guy I would want to fight, I would say. But it would be a good stylistic fight, I presume. I mean, he's very tough. He knows how to manage his dip. He's very quick. He's tall. He's lanky, kind of like Izzy. But, yeah, man, I don't think I would want to fight him.
Thank you.
Hi, Steven. I'm here. It's absolutely true that in Kazakhstan, all people are waiting for your fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov. But my question is about you. After last fight against Kevin Holland, you said that it's feeling like you are 25 years old. What can you say today before you fight against Shavkat?
Same thing. You know, I feel like I'm young. I feel like I can still go out there and show the world that I'm capable of being the champ. So my goal is to go out there this Saturday and prove that against one of the toughest guys in the division that everybody's saying is going to be the next champ. I love watching Shavkat fight. He's a very, very, very good human being, very, very good martial artist. So when I got the call to fight him, I'm like, what better guy to show the world that I can still do it than Shavkat. So I'm looking forward to a banger, man. I think the fans are looking forward to this fight as well. Even though I'm the underdog, I'm going to go out there and get my hand raised at the end of the fight.
Back here, Steven.
Yes, sir.
You have tons of high-level experience. Do you feel like Shavkat's game resembles anyone's that you've already faced?
Like I said, Rory McDonald was very good everywhere. You know, not just a striker, but also a grappler, a good grappler as well. You know, I've fought strictly grapplers like, you know, Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad, but those guys kind of went a route that wasn't fun for me or for the fans, to be honest with you. It was an exciting fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a guy that's going to try to finish you, right? Which makes for more of an exciting fight. Nobody wants to see anybody just get held down, but I feel like Shavkat's not that guy. He's going to try to go out there and finish me. So I feel like it's going to be a more of an exciting fight than that. He's going to start standing up. Eventually, he's going to try to get me to the ground. But it reminds me of the Rory McDonald fight. So, you know, Rory McDonald was great everywhere. I mean, he was a full-fledged, you know, mixed martial artist when there were still specialists in the game, which was the era I come from, where just, you know, striking and you had a grappler or you just had a wrestler. But now everybody's putting it all together. So that's who he reminds me of.
And then also wanted to ask you, sticking to your guns, not taking the last fight, ultimately in this position where you're facing a top 5 guy, do you feel like everything worked out positively for you?
I think so. I think my management team, Paradigm, did a great job, you know, working through that whole situation. And we got this fight, man. If it wasn't for my team, this wouldn't happen. So they're awesome, man. They did it all. I didn't have to do anything really, but just say yes.
Thank you. That was it for me.
Yes, sir.
Wonder over here. At this stage in your career, what are some of those key things that you feel about yourself that you've noticed that have gotten better throughout the years, other than the experience you have gained?
Man, I mean, actually, what you just said, the experience, but I feel like my mindset going into the octagon and how I see things in the octagon right now, like more clearly than before. When before it was everything was happening so fast, it was hard to figure things out. But now I can kind of slow it down and really pick and choose my what I'm going to throw, what I'm defending with. And I think that has a lot to do with how we train as well. I mean, earlier on, you know, the training was very hard. It was what I mean by that with the sparring and the grappling was very hard. And I spent years, and I think this is why I'm 40 still doing this, is, you know, we take care of our bodies when we train. You know, when we spar, you know, we get fully geared up. We're not hitting hard to the head. We're still working, but we're being smarter with our training. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that's one of the things that has helped me get to where I am today, is not just how I fight in the cage, but the training leading up to it has changed a lot.
Awesome. And I saw you mention there that you had a lot of people out there waiting to see you fight against Michel Pereira. Unfortunately, they couldn't see that. Did you bring some people out to this one?
Yeah, man. I mean, every time that I fight, there's always some coming from Greenville or Simpsonville, my hometown, to come watch me fight. So it's really cool that, you know, they're coming out to support me, which is awesome. Always puts a smile on my face. And that's another reason for me to go out there and just another reason for me to give it all I got.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.